You finally get what you wanted. The room is quiet, no notifications, no one asking anything from you. And yet, your chest feels tight. The silence doesn't feel peaceful, it feels loud, almost like something is waiting for you in it. You thought being alone would feel like relief, so why does it feel like pressure instead? 2. Problem deep dive. At first, you don't notice it clearly. You just feel restless. You sit down to relax. Within minutes, you reach for your phone. You turn on a video. You play background music. You scroll without thinking. Not because you're entertained, because you don't want the quiet. When the noise stops, thoughts surface. Unfinished conversations, regret, self-criticism, questions about your life. Am I where I should be? Why did I say that? Is this all there is? It's not dramatic, it's subtle mental noise, but in silence, it feels amplified. You start to associate being alone with discomfort, so you stay busy. You schedule things, you keep podcasts running, you fall asleep to sound. From the outside, it looks normal, but internally, you're avoiding something. Psychology calls this experiential avoidance, the tendency to escape internal experiences rather than face them. The strange part? The more you avoid silence, the more intense it feels when it returns. Why does your mind get louder precisely when the world gets quieter? 3. Reframe. Before we go deeper, understand this. Silence is not the problem. Your brain is not malfunctioning. What you're experiencing is a nervous system that hasn't learned to feel safe without stimulation. Modern life trains your brain to expect constant input: sound, screens, conversation, movement. When those disappear, your brain doesn't interpret it as a rest. It interprets it as uncertainty, and uncertainty activates monitoring. Silence removes distraction, and without distraction, your brain turns inward. That inward turn isn't weakness, it's design. But if you've been using noise to regulate yourself, silence can feel destabilizing, and your nervous system reacts accordingly. So what exactly is happening in your brain when the room goes quiet? 4. Psychological mechanism. Your brain has something called the default mode network. This system activates when you're not focused on a task, when you're resting, daydreaming, alone. Its job is reflection. It reviews memories, simulates the future, constructs your sense of self. In small doses, this is healthy. But here's the catch. If you've been under chronic stress, or if you carry unresolved emotional tension, the default mode network becomes more negative. It doesn't just reflect, it ruminates. And rumination increases activity in emotional centers like the amygdala. That's why silence can feel loud. There's no external input competing for attention, so internal content becomes amplified. Here's a simple metaphor. Imagine your mind like a snow globe. When life is busy, it's constantly shaken. You don't notice the particles clearly. When everything stops, the snow begins to settle, and suddenly you can see what's inside. If what's inside includes unresolved emotions, they become visible. Not because silence created them, but because silence revealed them. Now your nervous system interprets that clarity as threat, so it pushes you to reintroduce noise. But avoiding it doesn't resolve it. It reinforces the fear of being alone with yourself, which leads to the real question. How do you make silence feel safe instead of overwhelming? 5. Practical framework. This isn't about forcing meditation. It's about retraining your nervous system. Slowly. Here's how. Step 1. Lower the silence dose. What to do? Start with 2 minutes of intentional quiet. Not an hour, not 20 minutes, just 2. Why it works. Exposure therapy shows that gradual exposure reduces threat response. If silence feels overwhelming, your brain associates it with danger. Short exposures create manageable prediction errors. Your nervous system learns, I can survive this. Real-life example. You sit on your bed without your phone for 2 minutes before sleep. You notice discomfort. You stay. The discomfort peaks and slightly decreases. Your brain updates its expectation. Silence becomes less threatening. But discomfort may still surface. That's where the next step matters. Step 2. Label instead of analyze. What to do? When thoughts arise, label them simply. Worry, memory, regret. Why it works. Research shows that affect labeling reduces amygdala activation. When you name an emotion, the prefrontal cortex engages. That engagement lowers emotional intensity. You shift from being inside the thought to observing it. Real-life example. A memory surfaces. Instead of replaying it for 10 minutes, you say quietly, regret, and return to stillness. This prevents rumination loops from escalating. But silence is not only about thoughts, it's also about identity. Step 3. Separate stillness from evaluation. What to do? Remind yourself that quiet time is not performance review time. Why it works. Many people link stillness with self-judgment. If your brain associates quiet with criticism, it activates defensive systems. By intentionally shifting the purpose of silence to observation rather than evaluation, you reduce cognitive threat. Real-life example. You sit quietly and a thought appears. I should be doing more. Instead of engaging it, you respond internally. This is not decision time. Your nervous system relaxes slightly. Now silence becomes space, not scrutiny. Step 4. Introduce grounded sensory anchors. What to do? Focus on physical sensations, breath, weight of your body, ambient sounds. Why it works. Sensory grounding shifts activity from narrative networks to present-centered networks. This decreases default mode network. This decreases rumination. Real-life example. You feel your feet against the floor. You notice the air on your skin. Attention shifts from mental noise to physical experience. Silence becomes embodied, not abstract, and embodiment feels safer. Step 5. Reframe silence as integration time. What to do? Think of silence as mental digestion. Why it works. The brain consolidates emotional experiences during rest. Avoiding silence prevents integration. Facing it allows unresolved material to process gradually. You don't need to solve everything. You just need to allow space. Real-life example. After a stressful day, instead of drowning it in distraction, you sit quietly for a few minutes. Later, you notice your reactions feel less intense. That's integration, not suppression. 6. Integration. Here's the model to remember. Silence is not loud. Unprocessed experience is. Your brain is designed to turn inward when external noise fades. If what it finds feels uncomfortable, that doesn't mean you're weak. It means your system hasn't practiced resting without stimulation. Silence becomes safe the same way any environment becomes safe, through repeated exposure, accurate labeling, and grounded presence. Not force, not perfection, just familiarity. Over time, the snow globe settles faster. The mind grows quieter, not because you silenced it, but because it no longer needs to shout. 7. Quiet, empowering close. One evening, you'll notice something different. You'll be alone. No music, no scrolling, no background noise. And instead of tension, there will be space. The thoughts will still exist, but they won't feel urgent. The silence won't feel loud. It will feel neutral, maybe even steady. And you'll realize something simple. The noise was never outside. It was just your mind asking to be heard. And now it doesn't have to shout, because you finally stayed.